This is the Team Objection podcast for November 5th, 2020, episode 460, and a couple programming notes right from the jump. Number one, the election happened on Tuesday. We're recording this on Monday night because I'm never going to leave the office tomorrow, so we have no idea what happened. Maybe the country's on fire right now. Maybe Trump won.
World War III broke
Maybe
out.
Biden
we don't
won.
even know.
Mass protests. No protest. No clue. So don't hold that against us when we don't talk about it at all, because how could we do that? It can't be timely. Number two, no episode next week. Shaun and I are going to be in Phoenix. And no episode the week of Thanksgiving. So there's one in between, 2 weeks from now. But this show, no show next week. Then a show, then no show the final week of November. And we'll probably take a week off for Christmas, too. We'll cross that bridge in a few weeks.
This episode will be infamous because it's posting after the war started, but without knowing that the war was happening.
Yeah.
Historians will talk about this episode.
Well, see, the real war is over the fact that I am clean-shaven. And there are factions of people that are going to separate themselves.
Was that a QAnon regulation, or is that just what you decided?
I am dividing people into beard and no beard camps.
I like it.
Now, pick your side, because this is what World War III is actually over.
See, I'm tough on this one. I'd have a hard time with it because I think if I were gay, I would be into guys with stubble. I don't really like full beard. And I don't really like clean shaven, like smooth, completely clean shaven. But not everybody looks good with stubble. Not everybody looks good with a full beard or clean shaven either. I'm just saying, like, some people make stubble look really, really good, and some people it just looks like a mess.
But you have an impossible standard because, like, stubble, unless you want a guy who's going to maintain stubble, and I think that type of person already has problems.
I do that.
No, you have a full beard.
Well, yeah, right now. But when I'm keeping it short, if I shave every other day, it stays about stubble length. Because what I do is I use an electric razor, and I don't use the close side of it. I use the back side of it, so it just takes off all the hair, but it still leaves something short behind. It's pretty easy, actually.
I like using a razor because then I can put on face masks for like 2 or 3 days. And then once the stubble starts to come in, the mask doesn't stick anymore. And it gets really frustrating. It's like when your socks fell down in gym class because you were wearing tube socks still when you were younger. It's that sensation. It's terrible. It's horrible.
I gotta say, one of the weirdest feelings was putting a mask on, a normal face mask when I went out to like a grocery store. Because I'm like, why is this so cold on my face? What am I feeling right now?
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. You're actually protecting others from your breath now for once, though. Your beard is... Your COVID breath permeates through your hairs.
That's just ridiculousness.
No, it's true. Look it up.
So I'm guessing, so you two are both on the beard side of the war?
Probably.
No, what do you look at my face? When have I ever had a beard?
For me. Just for me. This is about me.
No, I kind of like you clean shaven. I don't know. Give me some time. It just happened.
This is great.
I think it looks good now. I'd have to think about what I like more.
Well, the second thing I hate, and even more so right now, is daylight savings time.
We cannot talk about daylight saving unless we're ready to turn in our youth cards and be like, we're just old. We can't have a topic about daylight savings.
It's just annoying why it happens. Like, I'm even annoyed by it, and I live in Arizona where it doesn't happen. And it's still annoying.
It was interesting being in Colorado on the night that it happened, where like we had to pay attention to at 2 a.m., not midnight, at 2 a.m. It switched.
Yep. It's odd that it's 2 a.m.
Which is interesting. But we can't talk about daylight savings. That's a bridge too far.
I don't like it. It ruined my work schedule. You have meetings earlier in the morning, which I liked, and now they've been moved back an hour. And like the stock market's open later, so it's just I don't like it.
All I can say is thank God Michelle's not on the podcast anymore. We don't have to deal with that shit.
Yeah, with her time changes and everything.
Yeah, these are the worst 4 to 5 months out of the year just because of that. And it's a similar problem with my work. Anybody who has to do work nationally or internationally and has these adjustments to make, just ugh. So I get it. I'm not quite as into that as Dave is, but I mean, all of our pages are done by Iowa, and guess what just happened in Iowa? They moved an hour closer to us, which means that we get everything from them an hour later, relatively. It's bad.
Yep. And now, football games are later and sports are later at night, and it's just, I hate that stuff. I'd rather just be constantly on Pacific time and call it a day. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. That's my cry for
Well, Dave, maybe you can write to your congressman and get it instituted.
I don't know who my congressman is yet because we recorded this before the election.
It doesn't matter. The riots have overtaken everything, and now it's martial law. So.
And now we don't even have time anymore, actually.
You should write to Barry, who's just the leader of the uprising. He's definitely an Antifa head, and he's not going to read your letter. But
As long as you wear your MAGA hat, I'm sure Emperor Trump will be fine with you advocating for no more daylight savings time. He appreciates the work you've done with QAnon. He thinks you're a good soldier.
I just wonder how this started. Like,
Oh, I can tell you how it started.
I have a feeling I know. I can also tell you when it's going to stop, which is never.
Yeah, that's true.
Which isn't true, actually. It'll be just some time, and then we'll forget about it, and there'll be a new running gag in its place, because there's stuff from earlier episodes that have not come up in a long time, but if I wanted a campaign to make him come back, I could. Remember Mute Baby? Let's not fucking talk about that.
no.
I
because
like
they
Mute
don't-
Baby.
Baby doesn't talk.
Yeah.
I think Mute Baby still is great. Excellent. Good bit, but it's had a hard time continuing to contribute because Mute Baby does not speak.
It was more. It's funny, actually, the irony of the fact that we had a audio only podcast with Mute Baby, and now we have video with a Mute Baby that isn't here anymore.
Where is Mute Baby?
Somewhere in a box at my parents' house.
Oh my god, that's so disrespectful. Go get Mute Baby. Bring it. Bring him. Her.
It.
They on the podcast. Put it on your camera.
Well, okay. I'll leave the podcast to you guys, and be back with it. So yeah.
What else is new?
Damn.
Um,
So speaking of getting old,
no.
segue.
Oh my god, are we really doing this?
Are we riding on
podcast?
segues?
I want to talk about Serenity. Not the show or the movie.
The movie.
No. I just want to talk about the fact that we're all men in our mid-30s. Yes, even you, Shaun. 34 is officially mid. Because you're not early anymore. Nobody's like, I'm in my early 30s. How old are you? 34? No.
Yeah, but I'm not 34. Oh wait. Oh, I just turned 30.
Say, you are 34
Shit.
now. Either that or I've been wrong for the last week and I feel or 2 weeks and I feel bad. Yeah, so you're 34. You're squarely in mid with us. I am kind of liking this age. I'm young enough to do the stuff I want still overall. Like, I'm not falling apart. I mean, I have bad days where I have worse pains than others, but I'm not that old where I start talking about aches and feeling the weather in my knees and all that jazz. But I'm also old enough to know better. And I mean that in a lot of ways. So my question for you guys is this. What do you feel about your 30s? Is it everything you thought it would be? Is the man that you were in your 20s looking at this and going like, actually, I'm pretty pleased with where I am? Or are you like, man, I thought it was going to be so much better / different?
Well, luckily I was a huge fat slob in my 20s,
I was
so
going to say flat earther.
I don't have.
It's a
No,
QAnon
I was never that.
Thank God.
So I don't have a lot to like compare it to. Like I can't be like, oh, when I was in my peak, I would have turned it on.
Interrupt. You're making a point.
But yeah, so I feel good. The only thing that I've noticed. So here's the thing. Dave has been telling me for about 6 years, just wait till you're my age and you're gonna go downhill. And I keep reaching his age and I keep not going downhill.
You haven't reached my age. You're not as old as me.
So I'm just wondering if it's starting to seem like Dave had just let himself go.
I look like that, don't I?
No, you don't look like it, but you were like, oh, I was so athletic when I was 16. And it's like, well, man, why don't you do something? All you do is play with your kids all day.
That's a lie, and you know it.
You're right. You work all day. You play with your kids for barely any of it.
You neglect your kids. Is that what you want, Dave?
I just like to keep you on your toes. No, it's funny. God, do I look back? I actually think I'm pretty much where I expected to be at 35, surprisingly enough.
Well, because you had a 12-point plan for how your life was going to go, and you followed it.
I had no plan, man. I was all up and down when I was.
I do not believe that for a second. You were one of those kids, 18 years old, who had like, I'm going to be married by 20. When'd you get married, Dave?
28.
20, be married by 27, 28. Kids when, 20, right before I hit 30, so that when I'm old, they'll be old enough to play basketball with me, and I won't be too old.
Man, that's I like how you changed the numbers to fit your narrative completely.
That's how confident I am that was your plan.
It wasn't in the least. My God. From the time in 2010, 2011, where I got fired from my job, wasn't dating Courtney, and living with my parents when I was 26. Yeah, that wasn't on the plan at all. So, yeah, how about that?
Well, sometimes there are setbacks, but did you at least have kind of like these overarching goals? Did you see, like, out of the three of us, the person who saw themselves with the suburban lifestyle, the own a house, have 2.3 kids and a wife and 1.4 dogs, which is like I don't know what the point four is, but it's a
One leg.
abomination.
Just one leg of a dog.
Yeah, it's really not great. You just sew the
No.
other leg onto your other dog, and the dog's like, "What the fuck?" If there was anybody who had the suburban life in mind, it was Dave. Of the
It was
three of
me.
us,
It was me.
it
That's
might
for
not have
sure.
been your plan, but you probably envisioned yourself in something like this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I imagined having a house, having kids, that type of thing. Yes.
Well, I'll
So,
tell you why. Because it wasn't my plan. Because in fact, my plan was the opposite. I finished a pretty bad relationship. No, you know what? Okay, to be fair, when I was like 18, 19, I had a really obnoxious girlfriend who we created that plan. And then when that ended, though, that was so bad that I was like, you know what? Here's my plan. Never getting married, never moving in with anyone. I'm good. And that was the plan. And then now, that didn't end up happening. But I'm off plan. I don't know what's going to happen now.
the best thing is not having a plan. That's like, I didn't plan on having kids necessarily when I did, or getting married when I did. It was just when it was at the right time. Because, as Chris probably knows, had I gotten married 5 years earlier than I did, that wouldn't have worked out very well at all. Like, at all.
Well, if
And
you got
I
married to
needed
the
that time.
knife wielder, yeah, I agree.
No,
You'd be
not that
dead.
one. To my current wife.
Yeah.
Had I gotten married 5 years earlier to my current wife, and she says the same thing, we probably wouldn't be together today had we gotten married 5 years earlier, just because we weren't ready for it. And so,
Which is
as
why it's a hard sell for me, the thought of getting married like 22 or younger. Now, obviously, I'm way past that point, so it's not really relevant to me anymore. But when I think about how different I was just between like 18 and 24, like that is you can argue the period of most change in my life was when I was like a newborn and then I started to crawl and learn how to talk. Fucking whatever. After I could actually have cognizant thought, the next biggest jump in my life was that 3 or 4 years, not even just college specifically, but being on my own, being independent, figuring out things for myself, a lot of times the hard way. So the thought of me trying to get married in the middle of that and then changing a lot over time, which is why it's kind of like where I like where I am now. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to change anymore. That's not true. But like, I know who I am in a way I didn't 10 years ago in a lot of ways. And I like the serenity, that's why I brought the word up, in that comfort level. Because I was never really uncomfortable in my own shoes, but there have definitely been different points in my life where I was like, man, I don't like this part of myself, or I don't like this direction I'm going in. And well, not everything in my life is peaches and cream right now. At least I know, like, hey, the things I can control, I have control of, and the ones I don't sweat them right now.
I agree. I'm really like, this is going to sound stupid, but coming from a point where I didn't have this, I'm very appreciative for like the time I have to do the things that I enjoy. Like the fact that I don't have to stress about my backlog because I know I'll have time to get to it is a huge relief for me, because I didn't always have that. I would have a backlog and I would feel like stress, and it would make me sad that like, oh, that's a book or a TV show or a video game that I'm never probably going to experience because I only have like one of those a year at best. The fact that I have that time now to do the things that I enjoy is pretty cool.
it's funny, like, it's almost everybody's greatest wish, though, that you could take what you know now and apply that to when you were 18. Because it'd be amazing to have that serenity at 18 and that comfort in your own shoes at 18 with all that time ahead of you, I think. Because then you can
and
apply
lottery
that.
numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Send those back.
Yeah, send the lotto numbers back. It didn't work out poorly in Back to the Future 2 or anything. Not a big deal.
I didn't mean literal time travel. I just meant like having the knowledge of yourself, of this in an 18-year-old body,
No,
basically.
Dave, I think you meant literal time travel. So
Yep, give me that sports almanac.
And some people look at that in a more literal sense as like, I would go back and tell my 18-year-old self not to waste my time dating that hoe. And you'd be like, well, yes, you probably could have saved yourself a lot of discomfort in that bad relationship you had or that bad job you took or the major you switched out of or whatever. But then again, I think that was all part of the experience that got you here. So now if you go back and you take out that bad relationship or that nasty ex, does it have any bearing on your current self? Probably.
Yeah, well, let me illustrate that for you, Chris. I'm so glad you asked. So for a while, and I still do it on occasion, I think about, like, what if I woke up tomorrow and I was like 8 years old again? And like, what would I do differently? And there's a lot that I would do differently. And I would rule the basketball team, for one. High school basketball, we're going to 5A state championship. I would work harder, too. I work hard now that I did not do to a level that I did not even come close to back then, which is, like, super unfortunate. Youth really is wasted on the young.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, I'd still find, like, Maisie, and, you know, I'd want to still make sure that we met at the same, like, point. But then that gets weird because we're 8 years different, so I can't go too soon. Or it starts to get to the time traveler's wife, and which gets really weird. He like visits her when she's like a little girl.
There's somebody out there who's thinking about like a Kingdom Hearts scenario. Remember how like Aqua goes and meets young Kairi?
Oh yeah.
All the young main characters are in there at some point, but it's like, what if they had started dating?
Right.
Like, so it's like, yeah, I met you when you were young, and I molded you, and now that you're of age, let's hang out some more. It's like, I don't know if I like that.
Because the problem is, I would want to go back and change the tragic moments of her youth, but that's very dangerous because then that could change everything. She becomes a completely different person. Doesn't even have an interest in me anymore. I meet her at coffee, and she hates me. Or she's not even working at coffee anymore.
Yep, she's too busy being in QAnon with Dave.
Oh my God, exactly.
It's almost impossible if you were to wake up and be 8 years old again tomorrow that your life would turn out the same way that it would be right now.
Well, yeah.
Like,
it's the same thing
way
with
better.
It's the same with any time travel scenario, though. People are like, well, just don't mess with anything. Like, don't run into your other self. Don't tweak anything. It's like your mere presence is almost always going to screw it up if this isn't like a fiction thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I have the same thought process of had I not dated the crazy knife wielder ex, if I would have gone on the same path that I would now that led me to where I am right now, or if had I had kids earlier, or had I gotten married earlier or later, or made different decisions in life. It's crazy. Unwinding that tapestry of your life is way crazy. Like, goes too crazy for me.
I wonder if knife wielding girl is watching the show and being like, man,
just sharpening.
That's how I'm referenced now. Not ex-girlfriend number 2, certainly not by my name.
No.
Just knife wielder.
I mean, you are what you eat. No.
You are what you did?
It doesn't.
Brandish?
Yeah. That'd be kind of fun to just give her like a code name and call her Brandish. Brandy for short.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, call her Brandy. That's fine.
Wasn't
actually
her name.
Works. That's really well.
That'd be cool if that was her name.
Not even close to her name.
Not even close. It's
but then
okay.
I would question the circuitous route we took to get to just calling her by her name anyway.
And I'm also not a big fan of romanticizing this particular girl. Like, I feel like I would grow to like this character of Brandy, and I don't want to do that.
No, because Chris met this person.
Yeah.
Maybe Brandy's cool.
See,
Brandy, if you're
that's
listening,
what I'm saying. I don't.
Email me. We'll plot Dave's demise together.
You know, we just said maybe people change a lot between that 18 and 25. Right? Well, maybe she changed a lot. Maybe she got a little less stabby as she matured, and now she's a perfectly acceptable member of society.
Let's hope so, because I have made no effort to find out. I have made no effort to discover anything on social media about her, so I don't know. And
I would Facebook stalk her for you, but I deleted all my social media.
That's a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you had been able to find out anything about your old, not Stabby, because I can't think of a good nickname for her, so.
Oh, God. I'll think of a good nickname.
Okay. I mean, but you don't know what she's doing nowadays, right?
No, I don't. She came up in conversation for the first time in a while, and I think she's still, like, across the country doing something. I don't know.
I thought it was a name.
But what's a wonderful feeling is, like, I don't really care. Truly, I mean different now, and that's really nice.
Oh, that reminds me of the moment I stopped caring about her, specifically, where I, like, hung up on her and said, I'm done. This is a great feeling. Like, oh my God, I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I don't know how I got to that point, but I was just like, this is all right. I'm
Poor
done.
Brandy.
I mean,
yeah. Well,
if you're in the handful of relationships where you can break it off and still be friends, a lot of people say they're going to, and almost none of them do. But if you can, great. If you're not, what ends up happening then is usually you oscillate between either not caring, which is the better outcome, or hatred, which is the tougher one because you have to let that fester for a long time. So regardless, when you get to the point where you don't care anymore, as I don't think you wish ill towards her, right, Shaun? It's just kind of like there's no wish at all. It's just like
Indifference.
That's a closed chapter, and I don't think about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, she serves a very helpful function of a juxtaposition of how bad my life could have been and how happy I am now, and so that's kind of nice, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I finally thought of a nickname for her.
What is it?
We're gonna call her Callie because she made you call her consistently in between basketball games, and that's the closest name I could think of to call.
Yeah, that
Here's
works.
the problem. That's clever and it's a good fit, except we knew a Callie back in the day.
Well,
That's okay. The audience doesn't know Callie.
Yeah. How in the world?
Unless Callie's watching.
It's not you. It's not you, Callie.
Because she knows that somebody else who has been on like 2 of our 460 episodes might show up again, and she's just waiting. Just waiting and watching for that day he comes back. Who am I talking about? Who knows?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
You don't remember?
Maybe she secretly likes you both. Certainly not me. She's never met me. I don't know a Callie.
It's the guy who's going to be the best man at your wedding. Does that ring a bell? He was trolling for 18-year-olds long before you were. Any of this ringing a bell? It's going to start getting so specific that I might as well just say his fucking name.
It's fine. Talk about it off air.
She played basketball with us once in the quad, and she was like the third best player on the floor after you and me because it was such a motley crew.
Well, luckily that was not a Callie, so we're clear. That was a Cassidy.
Oh, damn, you're right. But I wonder you don't know who I'm talking about then. Well, the cow is a great code name. Let's roll with that.
If Cassidy was watching the show, that would be weird.
Yeah,
I know he's going to come back. He was on one episode
like 4
years ago.
But yeah.
One thing, Chris, you mentioned about Serenity, I think was a crazy feeling of what I didn't have it when I was younger and I do now, is the knowledge of how to actually work, if that makes sense. Shaun, you touched on it with like basketball. Like, I felt like when I was younger, I knew how to study properly. I actually worked hard to get better at basketball. I didn't do I was slacking off in comparison to what I should have been doing. And now I feel like I know the level of commitment and intensity into a focus it takes, which I didn't know back then.
Yeah, if you guys had that drive and motivation, I think both of you could have played at least at D2 in college.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool.
I think you guys had enough talent that if you knew how to direct yourself and put those efforts in, instead of being like, well, I went to practice after school and I played for an hour and we did a layup drill and I stretched for about 5 minutes and everything was great. It's like, yeah, but what did you get out of it?
Oh, I'm a leading scorer on my JV team. I am going to do fine. I'm going to the NBA. I'm the leading scorer on JV. Okay. Oh, wait. No, that meant nothing to anyone.
Yeah, like I go into workouts now and I'm like, I want to do the best. Not as a competition. I just want to outwork everybody. And I didn't.
It's a little bit of a competition.
Before I would just want to get through practice so I could go eat whatever Casa Burrito or whatever place I really liked. Can't think of the name now. I used to get like 3 steak cheese potato burritos at 3 a.m. and then I would wake up in the middle of the night parched and I didn't know why, so I drink half a gallon of milk. And there's a lot of calories going in and a lot of calories going out, but I could have done a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to eat KFC before every game, and then I would wonder, like, why am I so tired before the game every time?
In some ways, I really miss those days because mine was always McDonald's, of just having gobs of different sandwiches creations I made at McDonald's. And in many ways, I absolutely do not miss those days at all, and I actually enjoy eating, good food now.
Yeah. And to me, I understand that there are people who have really, really tragic events in their history that they would like to undo. I'm not trying to diminish that. But for the run-of-the-mill stuff, I think that shared experience is too important. Like, if you went back and changed one of our relationships, then you wouldn't know what you don't want from a relationship. That means one of two things. Either you wouldn't be happy in your current one, or you wouldn't know what makes you unhappy and what to look for with someone you're currently with. So that would make huge problems for yourself. You'd either wonder what if, or you wouldn't know what makes you unhappy, so you wouldn't know what happiness was.
That's true. So if it was a scenario of like a genie comes in, it's like, if you could erase one experience from your life, what would it be? I would not do That I would probably do like the one time I puked for like 3 days straight, because that doesn't matter. Although maybe that's what teaches me, like, what pain is.
I don't like puking. Turns out, huh?
Yeah.
The time I got food poisoning on my honeymoon, that was pretty rough.
But what's
So-
nice, Dave, about going back? Oh, is that the food I got you guys? No, that wouldn't have been your honeymoon. That was the night after the wedding.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was a couple days later.
If that was my fault, I would have felt.
It wasn't
bad.
the McDonald's you got us, no.
But if I was going back in time, if I just woke up and I was 8 years old again, the benefit that I have is I can undo all those relationships, but I still have the memory of the relationships from the first go through. So I'm still learned, but I can still make that life better.
There'll be mistakes.
The problem that I run into, though, is like, if I keep waking up 8 years old, does that become a cycle that I can never break? And then that sounds pretty awful too.
Yeah, it's basically reverse big mixed with Groundhog Day.
Yeah, pretty much.
And who would want to do reverse big?
Well, I would, except, that would be weird for, like, relationships, for one.
Like for a day, maybe. So you'd be like, I really just want to experience recess again. Just the pure joy of a good recess. That would be fine, but I don't know if I need multiple run-throughs as an 8-year-old again.
Well, the problem is, like, right now I have, like, and again, I can play games, so that's great, but I have so many games that, like, I'm in no shortage to play. And I remember, compared to when I was a kid, there would be like one game that I'd have, either because that's all there was or that's all I could buy. And, like, that's it. That's all you have for, like, months.
I saw
You better
people,
milk it.
Yeah, because you're absolutely right. Between the rental experience being limited and just the releases in general. And I saw some people complaining about how the end of the 2020 calendar was a little sparse compared to years past because, COVID. And I'm like, you don't understand what it used to be like.
Yeah.
The fact that a game of Cyberpunk's magnitude is probably coming out in 2020 means that it's already irrelevant compared to back then, because then it was like, what major title is coming out in this 2-year span?
Well, it's funny because, like, the biggest games, like the sprawling epics, were like Legend of Zelda. I looked up Legend of Zelda the other day. It clocks in at like 30 hours, which today is like, oh, that's like somewhat short for
cute.
an epic. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
At the time, that was groundbreaking. Oh my God! You can continue the game from where you left off? That's incredible.
No, not that one. Not Nintendo. No, I'm talking about like Ocarina of Time.
Fine.
I don't think the original is 30 hours. Well, I guess it could be if you're like.
Well, I mean, you want to speed run it, you can get it done in 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I mean, overall, I mean, even so, I mean, the original, if you want to beat it all, and it probably is a good 20 hours, I'd say.
Now, I don't know if I love 200-hour games, but like the point is, there's no dearth of content.
No, there's plenty of things that you can get sucked into. And then there's other things you can get sucked into if you want, like Fall Guys or Tetris 99. And it's like, oh, these things never end. So hooray.
Yeah.
Well, then, so like, what do you guys want in your 40s then? Dave, yours is easy. I don't know. Whatever the next point on the 12-point plan is, I guess probably a promotion
Trust
and
fund.
maybe another dog. I don't know.
Yeah, get that
Oh,
dog
fuck
up to
that.
you gotta get the dog to a whole number. This point is not
I'm-
coming
Yeah.
out.
A
There
new
is-
car probably at some point.
Mhm.
There is zero chance I'm getting another dog. I want my kids to play sports. How's that? How's that? That's what I want in my 40s.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, because I would want to then have an excuse to like go play basketball with my kids, because then I have built-in 2-on-2 basically.
Yeah, that's what you think, because you're gonna be like, "You suck, Dad. I'm gonna go play with my friends."
I hate you.
Look, I'm gonna have height. I'm gonna have height on them for at least 10 more years. So, boom, I'll have
Yeah,
that.
they're gonna have shooting though. They're gonna shoot circles around you. You're
Yeah.
gonna be able to
That's
block
fine.
shit.
And in VR basketball, they can set the height of their avatar, so it's not even gonna matter anymore.
Imagine if your kid is like, because this is how the evolution works. They're basically going to be like Steph Curry, where they're going to be lights out and the release is going to be so fast. They're going to be like, oh, whoa, Dad, nice post up move, Bill Russell, because you're old and slow.
Mm.
I would take that as a compliment. if my
Well,
kid-
they wouldn't mean it as a compliment.
No.
but I would take it that way. Actually, I'm wondering how it's gonna go, because I remember my dad was not very good at basketball. He didn't grow up playing basketball like I did, but he had a deal with me when he made me when I was like 6 or 7, where he said, if you can beat me to a game of 20, by the time you're 20 years old, he's gonna be $20. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And I beat him when I was like 12, because I got pretty good pretty quickly.
I'm going to tell my kids, if you can beat me in a game of 20, by the time you're 20. I'll give you $2,000 because it ain't gonna happen, kiddo.
Well, see, the difference with my dad was much younger than I am now. So I don't know. My kids could probably do it when they're 18 or 19 if they play basketball growing up.
No way. What's nice? What's gonna be nice is we're gonna run our 3. And unlike when we play with my family, where they're like, "That's not fair," and they cry into the streets, it'll be like a good challenge probably for the young bucks coming up. It'll be a good challenge. It'll be too good of a challenge because they're not going to win. But
yeah, you guys need to have a kid.
No, you have 2 right there. No, you'll have 3.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that fine. Okay, it's gonna be too much of an age gap. It's gonna take too long. I'm gonna wait too long, guys.
No. We're gonna gatekeep your entire family.
What do you mean? 15? 15 years old. James is gonna be fine, right? And when he's 15, Caitlin's like what? 19?
Yeah.
And Alex is 18.
Caitlin will be 21. Alex will be 18. Yes.
Oh, okay. So when you said when she's 19, that was a lie.
I made a mistake.
So yeah, that's fine. I'll be 30, 49. I won't even be 50 yet. Man, they have no chance. Holy cow.
I'll be 30 something. That's it. Right?
I got to tell you, blocking Caitlin against the backboard is going to be one of my life's great joys.
Man, that's kind of sadistic.
Yeah,
almost.
You think I'm going to take it easy? I'm not.
I mean, if there's money on the line, of course not.
Hell no.
No. And that was the deal with my dad, is that he would play, easy with me, especially when I was young. But if I said, all right, this is a real game, he's like, all right, then I'm going hard.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to go about it.
I agree. Yeah. You don't want to go too soft. You also don't want to be a complete tyrant. You don't want to reject your 4-year-old when you're trying to teach him to love the game. But you also can't be like, oh, I let you beat me. Oh, shut. You gotta split the difference. So I'll take it as seriously as you take it.
Yep.
You want to just have fun and kind of get into the sport? Cool, we'll have fun. You want to come at me? Yeah. You want to fucking come at me?
I'll take it a little bit easy. There's not a lot of scenarios where I go 100% unless it's like City League or something now. Because it's so physical. I don't want to hurt someone like stupid pickup. I don't want to hurt your kids. I don't want to damage them physically, just emotionally and their pride.
Unless I'm guarding you, then I'm pretty sure you go 100%.
No. Well, I don't want to be like, no, I don't even go. Not like on offense, I don't go at you 100% physically, at least. I try to go around you 100%, but I'm not always great at that. There are possessions where I go 100% on defense, though, and those are fun.
It's more fun if I'm shooting well and I catch and shoot the quick release and hit a couple threes over you, and I just see the rage fire.
Yeah, then I'm like, okay,
mm-hmm. All right. He gets into the right stance. And when you're checking the ball, you're like, oh.
And at that point, it became personal.
Yeah, that became personal for me.
Yeah, that's exactly the case.
Yeah, and you can't be the asshole who goes 100% on offense in some kind of pickup or even looser format than that, because there's no offensive fouls. Yeah. So it's like, what are you supposed to do then? Concede a layup every time?
Shaun just runs over
Stand your ground? Yeah. Get knocked 16 feet behind the basket? Like, that's no fun.
Yeah, then you become the guy who just fouls on every drive on defense every time, and then nobody has any fun.
Yeah, we've played with that guy in pickup. A couple different versions of him, and it's usually not that much fun.
I'll do that, though, Dave. We'll do a thing where, yeah, okay, all right, Alex, you want to play, for fun, that's fine. When he's like, all right, this is the game.
This is the game.
I'm going to go 49, 59, 69, 80, I don't care. I'm going all out every time.
Can't wait till Shaun dies on a basketball court going all out at 70.
That's fine. That's,
That's how we'd want to go.
It's not a bad way to end
it all.
Way to go. As long as I don't lose.
That's, of course, assuming that we're allowed to ever, have social events again.
Right.
Well, that's okay. Well, I mean, your family is they're family. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
the question is, do you trust us not to have COVID?
No, never. Yeah. Not at all.
I wouldn't either.
I have a feeling if one of your kids gets COVID, we will probably get COVID. There's a good chance, based on interactions, that we would also get COVID.
Well, so far so good. Hooray!
Yeah, we'll see.
We got a long way to go, unfortunately. Way to bring it down at the end.
Yeah, Shaun.
Yeah,
I thought
thanks,
we were having
Dave.
a good conversation.
Stupid.
Your fault. Sure.
You're a fearmonger.
Basically, this is 30 minutes of you shitting on my kids, I think.
No, it's not. I mean, they'll try hard. I think they should be commended for giving their full effort.
Man, he's commentating posthumously on a game that is going to occur in 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I know the outcome. So what do you want me to pretend and say oh man, they're gonna win? That's gonna suck.
What actually happened is Shaun, what was yesterday 49 and then woke up at 34 again. It actually happened the way he described. It just wasn't 8 years old. He just woke up, this morning.
I've already been.
Yeah.
I've already been 49, 59. I've already come back once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Trust me, your kids never win.
There's a Doctor Strange scenario out there.
Yeah.
There's 1 in 14 million where they win. You just have to try your best as you keep cycling through to make sure that one doesn't happen.
When the three of us are on a team, I never think we're going to lose.
It's true.
I'm sure it's happened, but I don't think it's
has.
common.
It's not common.
It's very uncommon.
I will take it to my grave that day, Sean. You and I beat those two guys at your apartment
Yeah,
complex.
they were huge.
Vamp for a minute. Cody's here, but we can't end the show because I'm not here.
Oh, I'm going to keep
no.
vamping. Yeah, those guys were huge, and we were like, do you guys want to play 2-on-2?
They
And they were like, oh, yeah, I guess we can waste our time with these losers. And then you hit like 15 straight shots. I didn't even do anything.
Oh, it was. I hit 15 straight shots, and then I hit like 3 straight shots, and then they're like, "Oh, this guy can shoot. I better come out on him." And then you pick and rolled, and I just passed it to you, and you laid it up. It's like, now
That's
what?
true. That's true. And I'm sure America is sick of hearing like, "Wow, are they gonna reminisce about their 2-on-2 lame ass basketball pickup for the whole hour?" The answer is yes.
Yeah.
And deal with it.
If you don't like it, come beat us in fucking 3-on-3.
Yeah, we're taking all challengers.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on, folks.
All right, I came back at the right time. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
So one last reminder, no show next week. We're gone. Veterans Day, whatever. We'll be back the following week. Gone again Thanksgiving. In between episodes, you can find us at our website, objectionnetwork.com, or on youtube.com/objectionnetwork for new videos 7 days a week, including that Trails of Cold Steel 4 playthrough. We'll see you next time.